Good evening. That's what's there to say. Hope you're all having a good week. Um, there's always been, a racial dynamic within football, within sports, and not to kind of go all go all racial, yeah, but it has to be addressed. It has to be addressed. Um, and in a sense, you have to wonder whether, well, okay, first and foremost, racism is never going to go away. It's never going to go away. Um, it's always going to be. It's always going to exist. The idea of a post-racial society is a myth. It's a fairy tale. It's never going to happen. And I feel like without being so triggering, there is a way to have a civil discourse about racial issues. In this case, within football. Obviously, you have the chants from fans that often happens. Depending on what part of the country you're in or what country you're in, it happens. But just excuse me. But in this case, I want to focus on management, and often enough, there's only one. Most of the managers are Caucasian. You've got some Europeans, some German, English, of course, Scottish, um, but you don't have much black managers. Um, Currently, you have one black manager, and that's Patrick Viera, legend. Um, and he's managing Crystal Palace. Before that, the last full time black manager within the Premier League, at least, it was I think it was Chris Hughton, and he got sacked from Brighton. I think it was Brighton. Um, that was the last Premier League job he had. Um, No, I think he's managing in the champion or managing. Well, I think he's involved with international management, I believe. So yeah. So then just back on my main point here. I think when Pat Vieira was offered the Palace job, and he accepted it, there was a lot of backlash in the media because for some bizarre reason, a lot of people thought that Frank Lampard was ashamed to get that job and should have gotten that job for whatever reason. Personally, I don't know, because Frank Lampard has a terrible, terrible defensive record as a manager. When he was managing Derby, when he was managing Chelsea, and right now, um, you know, currently, where he's managing at Everton, which he's done very poor, so poor. I think they've only had one win so far, and it's looking like they'll get relegated under Frank Lampard. So yeah, you can't really justify giving him the Palace job. And thankfully for Crystal Palace, they didn't. And so when Vieira got the job, there was this. There seemed to be this expectation that he will be sacked by Christmas because Palace will be that bad. Quite the contrary. Palace have had a solid season, a good season. They've had some loan players that have come on loan. Conor Gallagher obviously sticks out, and others I'm probably missing. But Palace have done well. Vieira has really develop develop players in that team. Must I think how do I say his name? Mateta. Obviously Zaha's there. I mean he's probably the oldest player in that team. One of the oldest at least. Mentioned Gallagher. Um, who else? There's just so many good like players who've ruined under Patrick Viera that's improved, that raised their standard. Um, there's just I can't. I think he's not going to win Manager of the Year, manager of the season, but potentially Patrick Viera could at least get an honourable mention for it. We'll see what happens. But there's just so much player like there was so much downward predictions for Crystal Palace that they will be in a relegation fight, which has been far from the truth. And so yeah, it's just respect, and obviously I love it. Even though he smacked beat Arsenal, which I'm not too disappointed about because I don't like Arteta. I think it's fraudulent in my opinion. But that's for another time. The point is yeah, Mateta, who else? So many good players in that team. I'm just looking through the lineup here. Yeah, they've really gone above expectations, and that's all down to the coaching philosophy and the instilment of belief from Patrick Vieira. Yeah, Mateta. Who else? Patrick Anderson. Tyreek Mitchell. Yeah, he's another one that's really came out of nowhere and really just made a statement with his performance. He's improved. Schlupp played well. Anderson, I mean, honestly, like the way they just contained, like I said the other day, it was just Crystal Palace simply bullied Arsenal. They just physically bullied them off the ball. They could like them. They were in their faces the whole time, in their faces. So yeah, I mean Crystal Palace, have gone up and beyond from what they were predicted to be at least. And it goes back to my point that Patrick Vieira, for some bizarre reason, he didn't seem to have a lot of favour coming into the season in terms of people's pundits' opinions of him. People believing that he was going to get that he was going to get sacked or get relegated, which I quite frankly find disrespectful, considering that he does have experience in management. Now it didn't end well at his last club, but it happens to every manager. And the fact that people were clamouring for Frank Lampard to get the job at Palace instead of him, when Patrick Vieira arguably has way more experience, than Lampard in management than you know than Lampard does himself. I quite as an Arsenal fan who appreciates Vieira, I was offended. I was offended because they weren't really giving him a chance to prove himself in the Premier League. But then I kind of I've come to in my spare time I've come to to question myself whether it has anything to do with race, because let's be honest, it is very unfair because there's only a tiny small sample size of black managers, and you can't necessarily because one fails, you can't use that failure of one black manager to kind of mark all the black managers that they will be similar, that it will be the similar trajectory that they will go down or fail. It's unfair. And maybe the argument of English or white privilege kind of comes in, can be applied here in a sense. You could make an argument for it potentially. Certainly English privilege, you could say that. White privilege as well, because you could say that as well. And it's not, and this isn't me being anti-white here, but I'm just saying that there's a much bigger sample size of white managers which can clearly give you the conclusion that you can't brush all white managers the same in terms of how they'll end up as a manager. Because you have a big sample size, but that's not the case for black managers. It's very small. It's very small. And potentially good black managers may never have the chance to prove themselves in the league. And that would be unfair. And thankfully, Patrick Viera is proving that was wrong. He's proven that that was wrong. And maybe his success at Palace so far, it could create, more avenues for opportunities and encourage more black managers who have potential to kind of go in that field and do well, work themselves up, not have a head start. That's what I'm saying, but at least, build a resume so that they can be given a legitimate chance to prove themselves in big leagues, whether it's the Liga, Premier League, Serie A, Bundesliga, League One, etc. So that's my point. So with Patrick Viera doing well, going above the low expectations that was set for him, I think it comes down to, a bigotry of low expectations when it comes to black managers, potentially. So yeah, that's all I have to say. Take care. God bless. Hopefully I didn't, ramble on too much, but yeah. Take care. God bless.